Well, hello everybody. This is Wiskin coming at you with another commentary. This one on a bit of a heavier subject. I'm not really going to talk about the gameplay very much, other than I get a little bit campy. I actually called this a camping one, but it's probably not camping as badly as a lot of people actually do. My camping tends to be pretty aggressive camping for somebody with a ghost and a suppressor. So this is in response to a Mail Monday by Woody's Gamertag and Mrs. Gamertag on September 5th, where in this part one of this two-part Mail Monday, they respond to a kid who thinks he might have been molested by his father. And I thought I'd go ahead and weigh in, because opinions, like assholes, everybody's got one. They all stink. And mine's no different. So first I'd say that you would have to find out for sure. I didn't want to gloss over that. You know, that you say, like, I think I might have been a victim of abuse. It's like, well, you probably want to make sure of something like that in any way that you can. And you really can't rely on your own set of memories for that, because memory is very malleable. It changes quite a bit. Your brain is very fascinating in how it tries to reconstruct things, and the weird details it fills in the gaps with that may or may not be accurate, quite often aren't. And incidentally, for a great, really excellent book on this subject of the malleability of memories, you should read a book called White Gloves, and I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. It's a really good book on the subject, and it'll make you really question, eyewitness accounts and even your own memories. That you want some sort of outside verification for anything, simply because of how screwy the human brain is. And so in his letter, the kid talks about, he wants to know a bunch of stuff about whether or not his father would feel guilty, how someone could do that to any kid, much less their own kid. And one of the key phrases is would he feel guilty, paraphrasing, but would he feel guilty knowing that he completely messed up someone's plans in life? Now, he asked for a father's advice. I'm not really sure why, but he does, and I would say that I'm not a father or a child molester, and I've never been abused, but I do have family members that have, and I've kind of seen that from the outside in, and maybe that's a better perspective, maybe it's not, when you can actually be a little bit more removed from it and see everybody's reaction and how this stuff plays out in a family. So I agree with Mrs. Woody, Mrs. Gamertag, whoever she likes to be referred to, that you can't expect most of what you would call the desired reactions from the father. He's not going to drop to his knees and confess and say he's sorry and apologize wholeheartedly or try and make it right, or necessarily even seek treatment. Maybe that would happen. I would just say in every case that I know of, that typically doesn't happen. The person, usually in these abuse scenarios, they're what you call a sociopath. Or even a psychopath, and not in the sense that you see in the movies. This mainly means that they don't have a sense of empathy. They don't have the same notion of right and wrong, and this can stem from their own history of abuse a lot of times. That you see that abused children often grow up to be the abuser, because that's a way that they have control, I guess, or that's a way that makes them feel more powerful or less impotent, or not impotent in the sexual sense, but impotent in like the powerless sense. I don't really know. All I can say is I don't think the person's going to apologize. If you confront them, more than likely it's going to result in them lashing out in some way, possibly violent. A lot of denial. And on her next point, I kind of disagree. I'd like to agree, but I kind of have to disagree. That she says that you should probably go to your mother or his mother for help in like seeking his own help, his own psychological help, or to confirm it or whatever. And in the limited number of cases that I've seen, I'm no expert, I don't work in this field, but in the limited number of cases I've seen, quite often the mother knows about this. She doesn't actively participate. She doesn't condone. She may be a victim of abuse in her own family. She may be a victim of abuse with this husband. whatever the case, a lot of times they know about it and they look the other way for whatever reason. It happens often enough that it's, I don't know that you can say that they're to blame for it, because it seems to be a human reaction. It seems to be the way people work, that they're wired to work. But I would say that you can't count on her for help. You can try it if you want, but there's a high chance that you're not going to get help from that source. Now, back to this thing of, you know, this messing up his plans in life, or messing up someone's plans in life. I agree with Woody that you can't let something like this define you. This is an act, or a set of acts, largely outside of your control, and it's not those types of things that define you. It's how you react to those things that define you. You can't have self-pity. You can't, say that you can't do things because of some history of abuse in your life. You can do anything. It's how you react to it that defines you. Now, there's a great movie, G.I. Jane, with a D.H. Lawrence poem in it. A lot of people probably have already seen it, but I'll tell you the poem just because it's such a good poem. It's entitled Self-Pity, and it goes, "I never saw a wild thing sorry for itself. A small bird will drop frozen dead from a bough without ever having felt sorry for itself." And that's the truth. There's nobody's going to sympathize with you. It doesn't do you any good anyway. People don't want to be around people that feel sorry for themselves or want pity in others. There's nothing good ever comes from pity. Even a pity fuck. It's no good. It's you want people. You want to be around people that are awesome, and people that pity themselves are by and large not awesome, and they're tough to be around, and they're tough to listen to, and at some point, it wears you out to be around them, and they don't accomplish things. You want to be a stronger person than that. You want to be the person that you don't even want to brag about it, to say like, well, I was abused as a kid and look what I did. But secretly you kind of do. You want to be as much as you can be. You want to do things that you don't want to be limited by this, basically. And the question came up of like, how does this happen? It's like, again, the person's probably a sociopath, and by and large shit rolls downhill, and your job is to get out of the way of it, and not roll it further down the hill on your kids at some point in the future, or the people in your life. You don't want to continue this cycle of abuse. And those family members I talked about, that was 3 sisters, all of which were sexually abused by their father, and they handled it in very different ways. Some of them, they let it fuck them up. I hate to say that they're to blame for it, but one of them really let it fuck her up, and the other 2, they hated him till the day he died. But they became really great people, even though that happened. And you want to be the latter, not the former. Well, that's all I got. Rate, comment, subscribe. Till then, I'll talk to you later.